When you speak last, a lot has already been said. I don't think I need to talk about CPaaS 1.0, 2.0, or 3.0. We talked about all the technology, all the channels. We've talked about AI and trust. So what I'll try to do is talk about how CPaaS providers and telcos can try and monetize CPaaS. End of the day, let's make some money out of it, right? So we talk about how CPaaS as an enabler can help in telcos' journeys from being a typical telco or an infrastructure provider to more of a techco. So, CPaaS seems a very natural progression or an extension for telcos in the journey and the transformation from being traditional voice, messaging, or pipe providers, and how they can transform into solution providers. So, why do telcos need to do that? We talk about telcos will enhance their offerings. You talk about new solutions. And we've all seen with the OTT advent how some of the bigger challenges that telcos face around loss of long-distance revenue, loss of roaming revenues, loss of messaging revenue to a great extent. And somewhere it's a CPaaS can be a very interesting proposition for playing defense as well as moving a bit more into the offense side of it. CPaaS expands new markets for service providers. We can talk about reach that's beyond the typical enterprise customer base that telcos work with. Telcos traditionally have never gone and sold to developers. Telcos have always stuck to SMB, enterprise, go with cookie cutter products, very, very geographically centered. So CPaaS can help them expand the markets and ultimately grow revenues. At the end of the day, that's all we're trying to do here, right? So we're talking about how telcos can monetize their existing infrastructure. There's so much of perishable infrastructure that telcos are sitting on, and CPaaS is it's a great avenue for them. It's communication, it's infrastructure, it's data, it's pipe, all the things that service providers understand. So a good CPaaS proposition kind of fits well into the whole scheme. So we at EnableX have been working with multiple service providers across geographies. And one very interesting proposition that we created was to talk about how telcos emerge as a business aggregator and a broker. We're not calling telcos as resellers for CPaaS platforms. We are saying there's a lot more that telcos can bring to the table beyond just selling certain APIs. There could be 5G APIs, there could be network APIs. We've talked about all of that. So what we say is, as an aggregator and a broker, telcos can partner with developers and sell to enterprises. So telcos have multiple B2B platforms. Telcos are talking about marketplaces. Every telco has a captive audience coming to their platform, be it a B2B guy, be it a B2C guy. There is a buyer who's connected to the telco. So telcos can leverage that and create new avenues for them. So you create an ecosystem of developers. So they can offer platform to developers. They can offer APIs. They can offer all the different things that we already talked about. So, I'm not going to go a lot into that. A marketplace is what is the strength of a telco. You've got customers, you've got a large access, you've got billing capabilities, you've got collection capabilities. Building a strong marketplace for developers and buyers is something that telcos can do better than pretty much any other infrastructure service provider today in the world. Your voice, your water guy can only give you water, your electricity guy can only give you electricity. But telco as an infrastructure has a very unique position to offer more capabilities, to sell more things. Right? Telcos can then partner. You can also, when you're enabling developers, you can actually enable them not only to build, but host and offer more and more solutions to enterprises. So it's not only me as a CPaaS provider or some of us bring solutions to that marketplace. You're creating an ecosystem. You're enabling developers to come, create applications, host and sell through telcos as well. So it's not that I as a developer come and build an application, go and sell on my own. I can leverage the telco's selling capabilities to sell more. So which is a win-win for all sides, right? And ultimately, data. All this that is happening is generating phenomenal amount of data. And you call it AI, you call it CDP. Ultimately, we all are trying to monetize that data. And this partnership or this aggregation of operator coming together with a CPaaS provider and a developer, there is phenomenal amount of data which is getting generated. And there are monetization opportunities around it. So how does that work? So, this is just a base model. There are developers on one side, there are telco customers. All telcos are, verticalized in their selling. They're selling to A industry, B industry, C industries. So this is very industry-specific selling on one side. The beauty with the developer side is you're agnostic. A developer could be building for anything. Today I'm talking of COM APIs, telco APIs. You can put anything here. You will have network APIs, you will have IoT coming in, you'll have a bunch of AI things coming in. But what is important is, developers are coming and consuming your platform here. Developers will sign up with you, start consuming your services. Developers will host their applications on the telco marketplaces. And ultimately, it's a joint selling across. So, you as a developer is selling, your enterprise is selling, and telco is selling as well. And, when you're selling this, you have the benefit, you're getting a carrier-grade network and infrastructure. You're getting inventory that a telco only can bring in. You've got all sorts of APIs. You've got self-service capabilities. And ultimately, telcos are able to expose their customers to more and more solutions, and vice versa. So this is where telcos can really, really generate a lot more value than just being a simple reseller. So, what does telco bring to the table here? Carrier-grade solutions. Security, we've talked about security, we talked about trust, we talked about their global infrastructure, their network access. Telcos can do full stack, and telcos have the network layer already. So you bring in your APIs, you bring in your voice networks, you bring in your IP networks, and you enable your customers to pick and choose and consume what they want. Right? And the biggest strength that the telco has, customers. Right? Nobody has a better, every B2B, be it an SME, be it an enterprise, everybody is a telco's customer. Now you're buying pipe, you're buying your mobility, you're buying access, everybody is a customer. So it's a matter of how do you leverage that. And that's where, the whole CPaaS plus telco partnership comes together. So on one side, telco is bringing the telco assets. You've got data centers, you've got the network, you've got the whole customer base, and your presence. It could be regional, it could be global. And as a CPaaS players, we bring in APIs, we bring in the coding capabilities, we bring in low code. It's not working. Oops. Can you guys hear me now? Do I need to start all over again? Thank you. So, telcos bring, CPaaS players bring in the rest of the magic, right? So when you combine all of this, you expose a whole set of new services to large customers and generate new revenue streams here, right? You integrate your technologies with telco IMS systems. You integrate with IP. You bring in a bunch of other third-party solutions that the telco may already be offering. Ultimately, you enhance. So you host your CPaaS on the telco networks. That's the beauty that you give. You have telco bring in the infrastructure, right? I can't, as a CPaaS player, cannot bring the quality of infra that a telco can give to me. Telco has security. You already talked about network APIs here. And ultimately, this whole CPaaS story kind of helps telcos also mature. Telcos have been on a lot of legacy. Telcos have been dealing with and providing with legacy. So there is a lot that can change when telcos get into the whole CPaaS story. Not so easy, right? So from a telco perspective, it's a huge mindset change. I think we've all dealt with telcos. Some of us are with telcos. Telcos are extremely complex organizations. It's very, very difficult to navigate your way through telcos. You've got vertical structures, you've got product structures, you've got market sizing. It's complicated, right? And they're designed to sell at scale. So you productize, you standardize, you just let feet on the ground go and sell. Right? Has its pluses, but not so easy when you want the same guys to sell CPaaS. Right? Sales guys are used to selling commodity. Sales guys are used to going to the IT guy. Sales guys so used to going to the admin guy and sell you more pipe, sell another PRI. And ultimately, the back-end systems. We are still dealing with legacy billing systems with all the telcos, legacy provisioning systems. And we've gone to enough telcos, tried to offer, okay, do you want to sell a SaaS license? The question is, do I get a CDR? Right. But that's a reality, right? And these are the challenges where you really, really struggle. You really struggle when you try to enable a service provider. So what kind of a model has worked? And we've worked with a few telcos in our last few years. Okay, the number always talks, right? You take this number to a telco, there is some interest there. Then you try and build a partnership where telco brings what they have best to the table, right? And we as a CPaaS providers, we bring in our expertise, we bring in the technology, we bring in our solutions, we bring in all developer assets. We bring in market expertise. Every telco you talk to, what's the use case? Who do I go and sell to? I don't know. So how do you enable, as a CPaaS player, for the model to work, that telcos get attracted to selling this? I think that becomes the key. Telco sales guys will go to the IT and admin guy. They can open great doors for you. They cannot sell CPaaS. So we as CPaaS players, wherever we've seen success, is where we enable pre-sales. We enable solutioning. Let the sales guy open the door. Our pre-sales guy will go and close the deal. Credit goes to the sales guy, the account manager. They get the credit. A sales guy is protective of their account, right? So they don't want to let an external partner take credit for the sale, right? So you create those kind of models here. And ultimately, the only way for this to work is when there is a joint go-to-market between a CPaaS player and a telco. And I know we have sessions over the next couple of days talking about what is the right model. Is it collaboration? Is it acquisition? I believe it's a collaboration model. I think as long as the CPaaS player is collaborating with the telco and vice versa, it will work, it will grow. Right? We've worked with a few telcos. We worked with Airtel in India. We worked with Tata in India. We worked with Jasnita and ISP in Indonesia. And everywhere what we've seen work is where there is a partnership. So we've seen 2 or 3 things happen. One, if the operator is willing to partner with a CPaaS provider in a joint go-to-market, that's worked. The other thing that we've seen work with some players is when the telcos have started transforming and hiring and bringing more people from solution side of it rather than telco side of it. We've seen some guys hiring from contact center solution providers, from SaaS companies. We've seen some telcos hiring from, digital onboarding solution providers. And suddenly, the sales guys in telcos also start talking solutions then. And that's been the way wherever we've seen that happen is when we've seen success happen. The guys then start thinking use cases. People start thinking about what is it that I can bring to the table? What value can I bring to the table from a customer point of view, rather than how do I meet my this quarter's target? Right? The moment that transition happens, we've seen the model of CPaaS kind of work well with operators and providers. Right? So, that's all I have. We've talked technology. So this model of this aggregator and a broker model is what we've seen being more received well by the operators.